I know this is a lost year. It's a gap year because of, what's gone on. But I'm liking the development. First off, my man Santi Aldama, who I love, and I know someone was telling me that I overpraise him. He's still going to figure it out. Santi Aldama is averaging like 14, 7, and 3 over the last like 4 or 5 games. So shout out Santi. But this Grizzlies team, just watching them play all these dudes and just seeing the development of everybody who's getting the opportunity, they're really figuring out, and I know it's rough, but they're getting a chance to see a lot of guys that they wouldn't have gotten the chance to see play a lot of minutes, serious minutes, to know that if their development program's working out, if it's looking good. I mean, you had Jaren Jackson Jr., who had 30 points, 11 rebounds, and 6 blocks. I know against a team that was basically like depleted, but still, Santi had 17. John Conchar was kind of quiet, but he had a good defensive impact. Luke Kennard was stroking it. Vince Williams Jr. has been this, the unsung hero that we all. He's basically the example of a guy that probably, if this season didn't happen, he probably wouldn't have gotten his contract, wouldn't have gotten this opportunity. And now they have a guy who's a serious rotational player that's probably going to be part of the organization for the future. And I know they drafted him, but he was on a 2-way. And another guy that seemingly could be a value for them if they wanted to keep him around after this season, that he's putting, in 20 minutes a night, decent performances, like Lamar Stevens. He's a vet. Okay. He's played 3 years with the Cavs. He played this year with Boston, and he's, what I've heard, is a really good locker room guy. But not only that, in the games that he's played so far with the Grizzlies, Lamar Stevens is showing that he's a good role player that they could probably bring back cheap. And they have a guy who's like 26, 27, who's a vet, who could be a key contributor in the future off the bench, obviously in a way smaller role, probably playing 10 minutes a night. But again, that's the type of guys you want. Like a guy who's right now in your gap year is so far in 10 games. Obviously, he's putting up 11 points a night, shooting 53% from the field and 45 from 3, and grabbing 5 rebounds, dishing out an assist a night, playing good defense. Okay, obviously, he'll probably only play 10 minutes a night, might not even play next year when you're fully healthy, but having that guy on the bench, huge. And that's what my point is you're obviously you're getting to see Gigi Jackson, who's looking good. I mean, Jake LaRavia, I think personally, is one of the other guys who has benefited tremendously from the minutes. He's a guy that he's looked great over for the season. He's playing about 15 minutes a night, but over, I think, a couple splits. I know his shooting numbers are terrible, but I think he's a guy he needed those minutes. And so far, I mean, through March, he's a kid that is putting up, I know it's like 4 games, guys. Like, it's not walking on water over here, but through 4 games in March, he's a guy who's putting up 15 points a night on 42% from the field. Yes, about 29.4% from 3 on 4.5 attempts a game, 7 rebounds, 1.5 assists, a block and a steal a game. I mean, those are his best numbers so far this season, and I really like it. I know he's only played 18 games this season, and he's still so wet behind the ears. But he's a guy who needed these minutes. He needed, and he's benefiting from them because yes, the G League's cool and all that, but like getting NBA minutes and stuff like that, and having, a game like this where he drops 19 points is huge for his development. Same thing with Asante dropping 17, 7, and 4, okay, and having like 3 blocks. I think this is just helping still, like, being just driven. So for me, I just think looking at this team, it gets me excited knowing that the Memphis Grizzlies could have a lot of different players next year. I think they're also going to make a move. I think they know John Morant, Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson Jr. is missing one guy. They're missing okay, look. I think the biggest thing in my head is I look at this roster and I think, oof, that you can go out and get yourself maybe another big, or get yourself an actual center, or not an actual wing. So Desmond's the shooting guard, and you go out and get yourself somebody. You have Marcus Smart too still, but it is crazy to think about what they are capable of doing. They created the cap space with moving Victor Oladipo. I just think it's a really, really good opportunity they put themselves in. So for me, kudos to them.